Hello there folks, it is your boy Torpid once again bringing you a little bit of gameplay featuring Piano as the Plague Champion and Guru Skippy as the Lictor Alpha here. Now before we get started today I just want to talk about the music. So I've lowered the volume of the music in game just slightly. I'm not sure whether it's like a POV thing or whether it's a cast thing. Problem is, by the time someone complains on YouTube and then I adjust it, because I do my videos ahead of time, because that's what you need to do if you go to schedule. What if I lose my voice or something? It's going to be like 6 weeks until this video gets up, so I don't know, whatever. Is the music fine, or is it too quiet? I do actually have some licensing for other copyright-free music, which I should probably get using, but that would require time building up playlists for it. If you guys are aware of some pretty good copyright-free Warhammer suitable music, let me know in the comments down below and I will check it out and see if I can use it on these casts. That could be quite helpful. Anyway, today we're going to be watching Guru's Lictor Alpha playing with a double Hormagon opening, which is pretty nice against the Chaos actually. Whoa, getting a bit of lag there. I like this from Piano though. Doubling up on the Heretics, because individually Hormagons will beat Heretics by default. So this negates it, and it's convenient because there's 2 points over here to cap as well. But this is the reason why you go for the double Hormagons and not the double Termagants. The Hormagons then can go along the sidelines, and you know that, well, he's likely to have 2 Heretics. Wherever the Heretics are, my Hormagons can win, so it can help you with the map control. Especially because you're already faster as the Tyrannid than the Chaos player. So typically you do see the PC, the CSM walk around together so they can focus fire any Hormagons they come across and have no problem. Even focus fire the Lictor Alpha. But then nice to blob up the Heretics there and deal with the Hormers. Now things will change if he can grab an Aspiring Champion, because then the Aspiring Champion Heretics will easily defeat the Hormagons. The Hormagons of course will then need the support of the Warriors, not only for Synapse but also for knockback. Now the Lictor fighting alongside the Hormagons could go pretty good. You see he tried to pull in one of the CSM models there, and then all the Hormagons could leap on top and kill him. And that's why Piano retreated extremely quickly there, not even letting the model get pulled. Aspiring Champion Heretics doing their thing. So we've got a double CSM build here. This is quite common against the Hive Tyrant, less so against the Lictor, but still understandable. You can suppress the Lictor, but it's tricky because he infiltrates, right? Plus in tier 2 he can leap, so it's kind of useless in tier 2. So having a bit more focus fire is helpful, especially because if you go too heavy on, let's say, Noise Marines plus Heretics, or even Raptors plus Heretics, he can get the feeder tendrils, and then he can be very difficult to get rid of without trapping him with a Havoc, because the Noise Marines and the Raptors don't do a lot of spike damage. So instead he's got these 2 CSM plus the Plague Champion. He can focus him down, and for that reason the Lictor's not even going to bother with the feeder tendrils. He's just going to go for DPS with a Toxin Miasma, which does not only the 65 melee DPS, but it slows and it does damage over time, which makes him pretty good at picking off models. Let's see if he can pick off a model here. It looks like he's got a lot of energy, so he should be able to flesh up this dude and kill him and then retreat. Yeah, there you go, 1 dead CSM. It's worth something. But Guru had his primary forces on the right. You can see those Hormers went down to bash, maybe got 1 gen, but then the AC ticks arrived to force them away. Now he's going to rotate the Warriors and the Hormers over here. Interesting to see the Blight Grenade. This is not a very common purchase, but a beautifully thrown Blight Grenade there. Look at the damage on the Hormers. They're taking damage over time as well, so they definitely have to get out of there nice and fast. CSM probably are safe to just melee those Warriors down with the supporting fire there of the Plague Champion, but they're just going to take the garrison. There is no threat to the units in the garrison right now. And no models killed on the Warriors. AC ticks are going to rotate over and help that push. Only Termagants over here. No Toxin Sacks on them, so they're going to get caught by the Heretics here. And they've got to retreat. And it's going to be double Warriors for Guru Skippy. Perhaps going to get above Strangleborn on one of them. shut down the double CSM, good counter to the garrisons and the aspiring champion heretics as well. It's like the lictor content here just to bleed those heretic models. But a lot of focus fire coming in. Armagant's gonna... No, they decided they're gonna move down the bottom. Ah, there you go, Barb Strangler, Warrior Brood. So Lictor needs to turn around and actually attack the CSM. Okay, retreats. But those blight grenades, man, pretty well used. Really putting pressure onto the Homers. These Homers sneaked through. But we do have heretics here. No aspiring champion on them at the moment. Warriors were the ones that rotated over and forced off these heretics. If they did have the aspiring champion, then the warriors wouldn't be able to do that. Quite shocked not to see it, actually. But I guess he just wants less upkeep. And that means more bloodletters in tier 2, right? And I'm sure you guys are aware from some of my more recent casts, more bloodletters in tier 2 is basically how you beat Nids. You just get lots and lots and lots and lots of bloodletters. Can't get enough. And then eventually get a Chaos Dreadnought. So we'll see. Piano's doing pretty good in terms of his eco right now. Let's see how this push can go. The Barb Strangler Warrior is getting a beautiful hit there, but they're going to get deterred by the Blight Grenade, which buys enough time for the CSM now to soft retreat out. Well, one of them had a hard retreat, thanks to the Lictor. And yeah, this looks like a good push. We've got the other warriors over there. Where are the two Homers? Okay, one of them is in the base and needs to get moving. The other one is now coming up this side. Lictor to cap, Homers and Termers to bash. Warriors to guard. Double Nurgle Worship. It doesn't stack. Just making sure that everything is within the range. Catches these warriors again with the Barb Strangler. Barb Strangler putting in a lot of work here. Pretty good map for it. These sort of canisters here are very nice for the Barb Strangler because it can shoot over them without actually being able to be shot back by the bolters. But Piano is going tier 2. Guru Skippy is quite far off, actually. Not sure about the crippling poison there. I guess it stops him kiting the Barb Strangler. And manages to save all but one of his gens. Not losing any models, either on his CSM, but not killing any warriors either. But Piano will be happy with this since he is far ahead in tech. Now, he could actually go for a Blood Crusher if he knew how far ahead he is in tech. Generally not a great choice though against the Tyranids. One of these guys is going to go for the Adrenal Glands, and that can nearly 1v1 a Blood Crusher since the Blood Crusher doesn't get melee resist. And then the other one's likely to get the Electroshock Grubs from the Thorax Swarm. So yeah, not a very high impact choice in this matchup. Bloodletters are the way generally. So still no aspiring champion on these guys. It's quite frustrating because, okay, they're cheaper, they have less pop, so you know, less upkeep on these guys who you're only using as a capping unit, but you have to avoid the Homers, and the Homers are speed 6.5 versus 5 on these guys. At least if these guys had their AC, they don't have to run away from Homers. Plus they could maybe catch these guys in melee. They can beat warriors prior to them getting the Adrenal Glands. So we see Eternal War now coming up on the CSM. Oh, only on one of them, not on the rear one. Bloodletters should be able to get onto the Barb Strangler. Those CSM need to retreat. Nice special attack there. They are crippled by the Termers, but really nothing can hurt these Bloodletters here. Yeah, no range DPS, and you really don't want to fight them in melee with warriors. This is the whole problem. This is why Bloodletters are so strong. Really nice high damage specials on these guys in addition to them doing power melee damage. And they just don't bleed, because every time they lose their HP, they just phase out, go back into worship, heal back up. Bit of a nightmare. Actually, a lot of a nightmare when you've got a melee-based build, so he doesn't even have right now, Guru Skippy, much DPS to deal with the worshipping heretics that are going to be in the back, healing the Bloodletters. Might want to consider some Death Spears for that reason. I suppose the big advantage that Guru Skippy has is this tremendous VP lead. It is a relatively large map in spite of these two VPs being quite close together, and that should definitely give the Tyranids an advantage due to their speed. Maybe eventually we'll see this guy become an aspiring champion just so they can win the side capping fight against the Hormers. But clearly, Piano not wanting it. He wants to keep his upkeep low. Because, wow, look at this, man. Even with the current army that he's got, he is so high on pop. And that is really draining his wreck income. And that's what happens when you go to CSM. Okay, he's got the aspiring champion on the CSM now as well. One of them is fully upgraded with Mark of Tzeentch. The other one is just an aspiring champion. No mark. So these guys are pretty robust in melee. These guys less so. But these guys are going to be outputting some serious damage onto those heavy infantry warriors. Yeah, Ripper's going in there. Spawned out of Capillary Tower. Just going to be tying up the Tzeentch Space Marines. But there is a touch of Nurgle. Healing for the nearby units that are allied when they explode. And lots of damage and knockback to the enemies. And there goes one of the warriors. Not catching many of the gaunts in the backlash there. They'd already disengaged. Bloodletters are phased out. They're now back in reality, but they're under that Nurgle worship, and they are doing a lot of damage. Man, touch a Nurgle lasts a long time, doesn't it? Still active there and coming very close to wiping out a Hormagaunt squad. Very close. Yeah, Guru Skippy's going to need his Lictor Alpha to get involved in those fights, I'm afraid. Should probably be side-capping one of these Hormers. Keep the Lictor in the fights. Though he's gone for the Lone Hunter on the Lictor. He's got Toxic Cysts and Lone Hunter. So this gives him a little bit of spike damage. But really what's more important, I'd say, is the 15 HP per second for 10 seconds that you get when you use your Toxic Burst ability. So it's essentially 150 HP heal over 10 seconds. And then an extra 100 max HP. So it makes him a bit better of a duelist. Combine that with the fact that he's going to be taking 25% less damage and dealing 40% more. It's going to be very hard to 1v1 in melee. But of course you just shoot him down, right? So, double Tzeentch Space Marines fully upgraded here. Plasma guns on the AC. And Eternal War for the extra damage. And they melt that Warrior Brood. Man, he could have wiped that thing outright. Obviously, major micro mistake there for Guru. He should not have been leading with the Bow Stranglers. He should have led with Gaunts. And then shot over the wall to suppress these guys. He opted for Gene Stealers, so he's going to need to keep using Rippers to tie up these guys, stop them shooting. Gene Stealers will be good against the Bloodletters. Gene Stealers have a abnormally high melee skill, so they're quite nice to proc specials and disrupt the Bloodletters. They do also do power melee, so if they can catch the CSM, they'll do a lot of damage. Another pretty nice Blight Grenade there, lands nicely onto the Hormagaunts. And of course it spreads the little disease all over the rest of the Tyranid army. That is going to teleport out. They've got heretics on the left hand side that they can join up with. Under worship I'm pretty sure they will be able to beat the Gene Stealers one-on-one. Though there will be some RNG, no doubt. It just depends on how lucky the Gene Stealers are with special attacks. You do see the Rippers in play here. Going to be very, very important for Guru here, how well he can manage to use his Rippers to tie up those Tzeentch Space Marines, and that so crappy Heretic squad still been capping all game, doing a good job. No the war gear yet for the PC. Lictor Alpha just spending his time gen bashing. Slightly curious, and again, I feel like the Hormers should have been over on this side anticipating the presence of these cheap non-AC ticks capping. Would help keep Guru Skippy in the lead in terms of VPs, which, yeah, it's getting slightly more even. It was about 200 VPs up for Guru initially, wasn't it, in Tier 1? Now it's only about 100, so things are normalising a little bit. Good reactions there from Piano. Retreat straight out. There's nothing that he can do against either of these units, really, with a default Heretic squad. But certainly not both. Froze apparently. Rippers going to be leading the charge here. Scouting for Guru. Quite a fearsome melee army here. 2 Rippers, a Hormagaunt, a Gene Stealer, 1 Adrenal Gland Warrior Brood, and 1 Barb Strangler. And what a great counter to them. He now has the Chosen Plague Marines, does Piano. This is not going to be a good fight. They're just going to charge right at the Bav Strangler. They don't even need to. Oh my god. The damage coming out right here from these Zinchka Space Marines. Huge. Blight Grenade on the floor against these Homers and the Adrenal Gland Warriors. This is pretty rough for Guru Skippy to fight in an army versus army situation. Guru needs to get tier 3. Ooh, he managed to snag the Aspiring Champion there. I guess all the Tyranids have left, so he's getting the Lone Hunter buffs, and that makes him very, very scary. Guru might want to consider building power over here. Yep, he's getting the node. Killed a couple of heretics there, forced them back. Just took out all of Piano's power, but Piano, I mean, he's going to be pop-capped, right? Yeah, he's basically pop-capped. 93 out of 100. Yeah. So he doesn't really need anything else right now. You could build a shrine or a turret, and that's like it. You can't build anything else. And if he really needed AV, I guess he could lose a couple of CSM models, get a Las Havoc. But that's going to be the key to victory here for Guru, is going to be getting Carnifex. It's just difficult because this map, this gen farm's so exposed. The distance, whether you're going left or right to the enemy gen farm, is very, very little. Let's see, can the Lictor get a Bloodletter before he has to retreat? Nah, he's got to retreat. It's a tricky one. I mean, Guru's just floating an insane amount of wreck right now. He is going tier 3, recognises that he needs the tier 3, but Piano knows this, so he's just putting pressure onto the gen farms. I'm trying to think, what else could Guru get in tier 2? You know, the Zone Throps would put a bit of pressure onto the CSM, but at the same time, he could just swap out to the Mucus Discharge now that the Blight Grenades are scaling worse, and he's got the Nurgle Worship anyway to heal everything up in an AoE. So the splash damage of the Zone Throps isn't great. Not to mention he's got Bloodletters to teleport on top of a Zoanthrope, so Zoanthrope doesn't feel good. Tyrant Guard is completely useless. Even the Death Spitters feel a bit, because you're fighting this. It's a tricky composition to deal with tier 2 Nids, that's for sure, but I guess Guru kind of should have seen it coming earlier. Also, I'm seeing no Rippers right now, so he needs more Capillary Towers and he needs more Rippers constantly. Shut down this ranged blob. I mean, if you can get a nice Bav Strangler shot like that, that's going to be successful. Seems like Piano's quite split up at the moment. The ticks are over there, but the Plague Marines are rotating back over. Where the Bloodletter's gone? Oh, the Bloodletter's on the right-hand side. I don't know why they're over here. They're going to phase out and try and get to the safety of the Heretics, I assume. I'm not sure if under Worship... Oh, wow. Is that the Bav Strangler going down? Yeah. Just the sheer DPS output is crazy here, not to mention the Chosen Plague Marines doing damage over time, which will do full damage on retreat. Let's see, I was going to say, even under the Worship, I don't think it will be good enough to beat the Lictor Alpha, just because he's got this Lone Hunter. His DPS is so high, it even negates the... Wow, that was a risky jump there, jeez. It negates the healing from the Nurgle Worship, it's just way too high. I mean... What's this? 65 melee DPS multiplied by 40%. So, you know, we're looking at nearly 90 melee DPS. But then that goes down by the melee resist of the Bloodletters. But it's only 10 HP per second that the Bloodletters are getting. Because, remember, all of the Lictor's damage is going into one model. So if something is shooting the Bloodletters, a squad of Guardsmen say, those 9 lasguns, or las weapons, are going to split their damage across multiple models, and each model under Worship heals 10 HP per second. So it's going to be taking negligible damage. But all of that 90 DPS is going to be going right into one model, making the 10 HP per second not that powerful. And you've seen it. He didn't care. He ripped them to pieces. Of course, you've got the little bit of damage over time as well. 10 piercing DPS to units surrounding the Electro Alpha. So actually, damn, that negates the healing on its own. Wow. Oh, I didn't even realize it was that high. 10 piercing DPS, yeah. Pretty relevant. But Piano trying to stay in the game on VPs right now. It's funny, isn't it? He's constantly winning these big army versus army fights, but the Tyranids are just so fast. They're all over the map. It's very difficult for him to maintain pace in the VPs, and he has bled another 100 or so VPs. It's this side of the map that's really tricky. He doesn't really have a good side capping unit. So he's got a Chaos Dreadnought now. That will be pretty good, I guess, for side capping. It's because these default heretics, they're not able to contend with the Hormagaunts, which themselves are faster. So there will always be an advantage if you're just sending Hormagaunts and basic heretics over to here. The Tyranid is going to have a better time. So Piano just has to hold these two VPs. He's lost this one again now. I don't know why his heretics are walking away. Maybe he's going to rotate back down to it. We shall see. Guru, he's tier 3, but of course he has no power. He's trying to get back his natural. He's trying to build gens over here. Chaos Dreadnought going to rotate over to the natural of Guru, which Piano currently has to help hold it. Because he really doesn't want to be losing VPs right now. Point blank Black Grenade. Yep, that is see you later to the Hormagaunts. Quite a useful ability, isn't it? Because normally this guy does awful damage in melee, so that one Hormagaunt would be able to force him off, but that shut them down quite hard, and now he can get on with capping the point. Of course, Piano pop caps right now, so he can't even reinforce his Bloodletters if he wanted to. This is interesting. He rotates his full force over here. This is surely a mistake. Why? I don't think he needed his full force here. Maybe... So he's prioritizing getting rid of this power, expecting... You know, he could have sent Bloodletters and Heretics, and if Guru's army came, he would have lost, but... You know then that you're not going to be able to hold over here. He's only got his default. No, these are actually AC ticks. Oh, they got pulled in, that's why. But he's going to lose his VPs. I don't think that's worth it when the VPs are getting this low. Like... I don't know, he obviously can't see where Guru is at in terms of Guru's power. He knows, he will know that Guru is tier 3. Guru only bought Gene Stealers in tier 2. Oh, there is a Venom Brood here. Huh. Why the Venom Brood? Oh, what am I talking about? There's a Death Dread. A Death Dread? What? A Chaos Dreadnought. So that's why there's a Venom Brood. Just so you can do something to it. I mean, he's got the Adrenal Gland Warriors too. Can he kill the Lictor here? There's a lot of range DPS. Let's see. Not quite. Not quite. It's gonna be so hard to get rid of these Chosen Plague Marines. So tanky. Guru actually sending the majority of his force over to this side. We do see that Plague Fist now on the PC. But Gene Stealers will have him covered pretty easily. Certainly with a little bit of pew pew support from the Termers. Ultimately, Guru is just waiting for a Carnifex, but he's got no power. He can't hold the power. It's actually a nightmare. I think Guru should have anticipated this earlier in the game. I think this matchup, especially if you see the CSM going to CSM, then you know that your tier 2 options are extremely limited, so you should be getting up more power to compensate for that. Because you're pretty good in tier 1, because the CSM don't do that much damage. Yeah, in tier 2 it's a serious problem. So Guru just opting for a Neuro for up in the end, because he knows, oh my god, we're running out of VPs here, and by the time I get a Carnifex the game's going to be over. I need to get something out now. So it's going to be a Neuro for up. I mean, it will definitely help. Paroxysm does percentage-based damage, good to deal with these annoying Chosen Plague Marines. Good against blobs of infantry, control these CSM a little bit with Cataclysm. But the explosive knockback that happens when a Chosen Plague Marine dies is proving quite problematic. That's a Hormagaunt squad. Was it a Hormagaunt squad or was that a... This is a new Hormagaunt squad? Oh, well I guess, yeah, he has so much requisition, doesn't he? I think it was a Ripper squad that maybe died over there. And the Lictor went down and the Gene Stealers were routed. And he's running out of VPs and he realizes there's no way. Like, this Plague Champion is now a pain in the arse. It requires Gene Stealers and Warriors to try and deal with him. It's really tough. Can't kill the Chaos Dreadnought. And imagine all this healing here. And really, he could just slap up a Nurgle Shrine as well. Yeah, difficult composition to deal with. Ultimately, this composition requires the Carnifex to deal with. Probably should have been more Rippers. I mean, I'm looking for Capillary Towers. This one did exist and was taken out by Piano. Piano done a really good job controlling the power and the Capillary Towers that Guru Skippy had, but just needed more Capillary Towers and Rippers. I don't know to what extent those Capillary Towers would have been on cooldown, or to what extent Guru was using them optimally, but I think the other thing is just recognise when you're in this matchup, you're going to have difficulties against a double CSM build in Tier 2, so you're going to have to commit more to power so that you don't have to commit too much to your Tier 2 as the Tyranids, and that you can get them Carnifex out sooner and don't be put in this position where you end up losing your gen farm. And then stuck in Tier 3, unable to buy anything. That's going to be all from your boy Torpid this time. I am signing out.